Here's what most people are missing. They're constantly looking for signs that their big break is just around the corner, maybe tomorrow, next week, or next month. But what if the real question isn't about when your moment will finally arrive? What if it's actually about recognizing what this particular period of waiting is quietly downloading into your awareness? That's where the shift happens. It's about learning to keep your own energy steady, even when the world around you seems to be standing still. In this exploration, I want to encourage you to look at these delays from a totally different perspective. And by the time we get to the end, you'll truly understand why your journey was never behind schedule. It was just operating on a timeline that was far more intelligent than you initially thought. It's about the weight of waiting and what it's actually installing within you. People constantly use the word stuck. They look around and say, the road is blocked, opportunities are gone, all momentum has disappeared. But here's a new way to look at it. What if that seeming stillness isn't stagnation at all? What if it's the universe initiating a complete reset, silently removing anything that would crumble under the pressure of your next level of success? This season of waiting isn't a punishment from the universe, it's a recalibration. It's life itself slowing you down so the underlying structure of who you are can catch up to the magnitude of what you're calling into your life. Nobody enjoys being paused because it feels like giving up. But that's precisely when your inner power is being rebuilt from the ground up. You see, most visible progress announces itself loudly. New jobs, new relationships, new achievements that you can point to. But the most important kind of growth makes absolutely no noise. It's the complete rewiring of your internal operating system. When your external reality is perfectly still, that's what creates the feeling of heaviness. You're focusing every bit of energy you have on staying present long enough for outdated thought patterns to completely disappear. But to everyone else, nothing looks different. So your mind starts to see this as proof of failure, when in reality something amazing is taking root beneath the surface. Imagine someone who spent months trying to get what they thought was their dream job. They aced every interview. They visualized sitting at that desk, they mentally prepared for their first day, and then the opportunity vanished. Everyone around them offered the same empty platitudes about things happening for a reason. Those words never helped, because it felt like the rejection defined their worth. But a year later, they found themselves leading a project in a totally unexpected field, one that truly valued their talents and provided real satisfaction instead of burnout. In that moment, the earlier rejection started to make sense. They weren't lacking in skills. They were being redirected until their entire being was ready to handle the level of alignment that position demanded. This same pattern shows up in relationships. You meet someone who seems to have everything you've been searching for, and then the connection fades away. It hurts because you see it as losing a possibility. But here's the deeper truth. You lost incompatibility. Sometimes life will remove exactly what's reinforcing your old wounds, so you can finally experience true healing. Moving through that space between almost and actually is where emotional mastery develops. You start understanding your feelings instead of letting them dictate your choices. You develop self-reliance because you've been forced to trust your gut when the silence lasted longer than you were comfortable with. These are the kinds of upgrades that visible achievements can never measure. Yet they're exactly what prepare you for genuine alignment. This is systems thinking in action. Every system that works well operates through inputs, processes, and outputs. The waiting season represents input time. This is when your internal mechanisms reset, when accumulated information is cleaned up, when emotional issues are resolved. We usually resist this stage because it's not glamorous. It involves repetition, self-reflection, and rebuilding. But without this foundation, the entire process becomes unstable. Imagine trying to run the latest software on an overloaded computer. You can't force it to work. You have to create space first. Waiting is like your internal optimization process. Divine timing isn't about the universe playing games with your desires. It's about proper sequencing. You can't integrate certain possibilities until the version of you that can handle them is fully developed. This means the postponement isn't a punishment, it's a protection. Every delayed goal, every rejection, every period of silence after a bold move is valuable information. You're not off track. The system is still integrating. Letting go of what you wanted might actually be a sign you're on the right path, because alignment naturally removes what doesn't belong in your life. It feels chaotic right before it all comes together with perfect clarity. The universe won't allow something to stay in your experience if it would destabilize your foundation later on. That's how precise this process is. The very thing you lost that made you doubt your direction might have been proof that your internal filtering system finally kicked in to block out what no longer matches your energy. And this means the waiting isn't wasted. It's gestation. A seed can't sprout in constant light. It needs darkness. That transitional phase you're in isn't empty. It's hidden construction. The system is setting new conditions throughout your reality, building support structures, connecting you with people who will recognize your transformation the moment your signal becomes clear. Now, if only that signal could stay clear. But that's where interference usually comes in, because the moment we start comparing our progress to someone else's, we scramble the signal. We introduce static that blocks what was already headed our way. This is the next level of understanding, how comparison turns that clear internal flow into noise and prevents your system from receiving what your growth has been trying to transmit all along. It's the comparison trap, and it shows how misalignment messes up the signal. Have you ever noticed how comparing your timeline instantly drains your motivation? That's not an accident. It's your system disconnecting. Comparison acts like interference, a subtle distortion that gets into your internal code and starts changing where you focus. What used to feel clear becomes static, and before you even realize it, you're chasing someone else's rhythm instead of refining your own. Every scroll, every observation, every thought of, "I should be further along by now," makes that interference stronger until your whole energy field feels chaotic. It's not that you lost your way, it's that your signal got contaminated with noise that was never meant for your system in the first place. When you measure your progress against someone else's, your internal compass starts malfunctioning. It's subtle. Maybe you start changing your goals to match what's popular, or you lower your standards just to keep up with metrics that don't even matter to your journey. Suddenly, the work that used to feel meaningful feels fake. That's how misalignment sneaks in. You stop acting authentically and start acting competitively. And this is where it gets tricky. Comparison doesn't seem harmful at first. It pretends to be inspiration. It tricks you into thinking, if they did it, so can I. But underneath, it's pulling your attention away from genuine expression and towards seeking approval. That immediate urge to prove yourself, to post more often, produce more content, achieve more visibly, isn't real motivation. It's a distortion. It's like your system recording bad data. You see someone else's success as a way to measure your own worth. And in that shift, you lose your calibration. Think about those nights you've spent scrolling through social media after a hard day. You see someone launching a business, traveling to an amazing place, announcing their engagement, celebrating a promotion. At first you feel a little inspired, but within minutes your body starts tightening up. You start comparing. They're my age. They started later than me. What am I missing? That thought spiral triggers a scarcity mindset, not because you actually want what they have, but because you feel like you're falling behind in a race you never consciously entered. It's like trying to tune in to a radio frequency while also broadcasting interference. You can adjust the dial all you want, but no matter how hard you listen, the signal never comes through clearly. The interference is comparison. It distorts your unique energy, so nothing in your environment truly resonates with you. And the irony is that while you're busy trying to decode someone else's signal, you're muting your own. Psychology backs this up. Social comparison theory shows how constantly measuring your progress against others lowers your self-esteem and clarity. It overwhelms your mind with conflicting information about what success should look like. That confusion forces your internal system to process corrupted data, which leads to frustration and mental fog. The more energy you spend watching other people's journeys, the less you spend honoring your own. You can't optimize two different systems at the same time. You either tune in to their frequency or yours. From a systems perspective, think of it like running outdated software. Every time you compare, you import corrupted data. That bad data creates bottlenecks. Your decisions slow down, Your creative flow gets blocked, and your results feel misaligned. Then you call it burnout or inadequacy, when it's really just incompatibility. The wrong input can't create the right output. It's basic systems logic. If this understanding is resonating with you, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you can stay connected to this exploration of consciousness. The good news is that systems fix themselves once the interference stops. The moment you stop comparing yourself, your internal environment starts to stabilize. Your focus returns to what's authentic, and you feel your energy balancing out again. When you stop needing external validation for your progress, your creativity starts flowing naturally again. The interference fades away. You start noticing your own intuition more clearly. You notice the subtle signs, the perfectly timed message, the unexpected meeting, the small opportunity that leads to something big. Flow returns because your system recognizes its own signal again. You stop forcing things and start harmonizing with them. That's when the universe can finally receive your authentic signal. And that's the turning point. Because once you stop broadcasting interference, the external world doesn't stay static. It reorganizes itself. Situations change, people appear, timing synchronizes. What used to resist you starts responding to you, not because you tried harder, but because your signal became clear. And that's what we're going to talk about next. The moment alignment happens and everything around you starts restructuring to match your new vibration. It's the alignment activation, when the universe locks onto your frequency. What if the universe isn't delaying the perfect moment, but is simply waiting for you to transmit the right frequency? That's the realization most people never make. They see timing as this external force, some mysterious power holding back from them. But the truth is, life doesn't stall because it's against you. It stalls because your energy hasn't stabilized yet. The instant internal alignment is established, the system doesn't ask for permission. It just starts. You can almost feel when it happens. Something releases. You stop demanding things speed up and start trusting they'll manifest. But it's tricky, because right before that transition, the intensity increases. Many people give up right there, in that space, right before the breakthrough. They see the silence as proof that nothing's happening, when the system is actually synchronizing. It's the final moment before things expand, like the exhale right before the inhale. The system can't update halfway through. It has to finish first. That's when impatience comes in and causes people to abandon processes that were about to be completed. Here's what shifts. Once you stop forcing results and start acting from clarity, new possibilities tend to emerge in waves. Think about a creator who used to obsess over analytics. They posted, watched, overanalyzed, and ended every day exhausted. Eventually, they completely burned out and stepped back, not the fake kind where you say you're disconnected, but constantly check your phone, but a real break, just creating in silence again, not for the numbers, but for themselves. Within weeks, something they created spontaneously without any attachment gained a lot of attention, not because they tried harder, but because their energy stopped blocking the results. Their clarity became the input. That new input reorganized everything. Who discovered their work, what opportunities appeared, and how their confidence stabilized. In systems language, this is the eternal pattern: input, process, output. When the input changes from control to trust, the process restructures itself automatically. Clarity and surrender act like pure data. They eliminate old errors that used to mess up the program. Suddenly, you start receiving intuitive guidance you did not notice before. A message that arrives exactly when you need it, a stranger offering the exact support you were too proud to ask for. That's the process healing itself. Once the underlying structure is stable, the system has to generate coherent output. That output might be visible success or internal peace, but it's actually an external reflection of updated code. Divine timing is often romanticized as some mysterious, inaccessible thing, but it's actually systematic. When readiness meets surrender, patterns synchronize. Think of a seed. When the soil conditions, light and pressure are just right, growth happens automatically. You don't command it to grow, you just nurture the environment. That's divine timing in action. It's not a prize you win. It's a natural response when the conditions match the plan. Most people misinterpret the transition as miraculous. They call it luck, an unexpected gift, the universe finally giving in. But when you look back, the shift usually started when they stopped performing, when they let go. There's a difference between chasing alignment and embodying it. The moment you settle into your truth, all the processes that belong to that energy start clicking into place. You call it coincidence, but the system is just reflecting your frequency. Think about someone who kept getting rejected. Job interviews, creative proposals, collaborations, all blocked paths. Eventually, they got tired of trying to prove themselves. They stopped over-explaining, stopped twisting themselves to fit opportunities, and finally started honoring their craft in private. Weeks later, one of those previous contacts reached out again with a different vibe, a better offer. Nothing mystical about it. The signal changed. Their desperation had disrupted the system. Their acceptance restored it. That's what alignment does. It forces the external reality to reorganize. The system literally has no choice but to mirror your new configuration. And once it starts, opportunities that once seemed impossible start cascading like synchronized dominoes. People call it manifestation, but it's more accurately synchronization. The system reads your calibration and adjusts its outputs to match. When you understand that, you stop chasing timing altogether. You realize the waiting wasn't wasted. It was upgrading you so timing could find you ready. And once that awareness sinks in, something fundamental shifts. You look around and feel it. Your moment to win isn't coming. It's already happening. The instant your internal rhythm syncs up with what the universe has been preparing to deliver all along. Your winning moment isn't hidden in the future. It's been active from the second you stopped resisting what's already meant for you. The universe didn't need convincing. It needed cooperation. Every delay, every closed door, every long stretch of nothingness was synchronizing you closer to flow, not further from it. But here's what the original perspective often misses, and this is where the quantum understanding makes everything deeper. Your waiting season isn't just building patience or character. It's actually encoding you with a completely new operating frequency. Think of it this way. Every experience of delay is actually your consciousness downloading new perceptual software. The frustration you feel isn't proof you're stuck. It's the feeling of your old reality collapsing while a new one builds itself. Most people stop the process right there because they mistake the discomfort of transformation for proof they're moving in the wrong direction. What neuroscience shows is that your brain can't tell the difference between a deeply imagined experience and physical reality. During your waiting season, while nothing seems to be moving externally, your neural pathways are literally rewiring themselves based on the vision you hold and the energy you maintain. Every moment you choose to stay aligned, despite the external evidence, is creating new neural pathways that will eventually become the highways your reality travels on. This isn't just a metaphor, it's measurable brain plasticity working for you. The quantum field responds not to your words or even your thoughts, but to your state of being. When you can hold the energy of already having something while still in the waiting season, you're not just pretending, you're becoming it. You're embodying the version of you that exists in the reality where your breakthrough has already happened. And here's the part that changes everything. The quantum field doesn't experience linear time the way your conscious mind does. To the field, your future self who already won and your current self who's waiting are happening at the same time. When you align with the energy of your future self now, you're not attracting your win, you're becoming one with it. This is why people who stay aligned during delays often experience what seems like a sudden breakthrough. It's not sudden. It's the external reality finally catching up to the internal energy they've been holding. Think of it like this. You've been living in a reality where your win exists but hasn't shown up yet because there was a frequency gap between who you were and who you needed to become to sustain it. The waiting season is the bridge. Every day you maintain your energy, despite the lack of external evidence, is a day you're closing that gap. And the moment the gap closes completely, your external reality has no choice but to reorganize itself around your new energy. Here's the practice most people never find. During your waiting season, you have access to a special window of awareness that won't be available once your breakthrough arrives. In this space between wanting and having, You can see your patterns with perfect clarity. You can notice every fear, every doubt, every old story that would have sabotaged your success if left unexamined. The waiting season is giving you the gift of meeting every part of yourself that isn't ready yet, so you can integrate it before your win arrives. This is the hidden intelligence of divine timing that most teachings completely miss. When you understand this, your whole relationship with waiting changes. You stop seeing it as wasted time and start seeing it as your consciousness being strengthened. Every day that passes without visible proof of your breakthrough is a day your ability to hold that breakthrough is growing. You're not waiting for your turn. Your turn is happening right now in the invisible realms of consciousness, energy, and quantum probability. The external manifestation is just the final step in a process that's been unfolding all along. Let me explain this more deeply, because understanding the underlying structure changes everything. There's a concept in quantum physics called superposition. It means that a particle exists in all possible states at the same time until it's observed. Your life works on the same principle. Right now, countless versions of your future exist in superposition. The version where you win exists right alongside the version where you don't. The version where everything aligns exists at the same time as the version where nothing moves. They're all real. They're all happening. The question isn't which one will happen. The question is, which one are you collapsing into reality through your observation, through your energy, through your consistent state of being? Most people don't realize they're constantly collapsing possibilities into reality through the energy they broadcast. When you spend your waiting season in anxiety, in doubt, in the energy of when will it happen, you're actually collapsing the timeline where it keeps not happening. You're observing from the energy of lack, and the quantum field has no choice but to keep creating more experiences that match that observation. But when you shift your observation, when you start observing from the energy of it's already done, I'm just waiting for the physical reality to catch up, you collapse a completely different timeline. You're no longer creating from lack. You're creating from fulfillment. And fulfillment creates more fulfillment. That's quantum law. Now, what we've talked about here today is the foundation of conscious energy transmission, but it only scratches the surface of how to truly master this process and move from unconsciously broadcasting to becoming the conscious creator of your reality. If you're ready to go deeper into the complete framework of how frequencies work, how to know when you're stuck in survival mode versus coherent transmission, and how to embody the 9 master frequencies that shift you from seeking to being, I've created a comprehensive guide called Beyond the Frequencies, a quantum guide to consciousness mastery. It is where I walk you through the step-by-step practices of transforming from someone who waits for alignment to someone who becomes the alignment itself. It's linked in the pinned comment below. This is why affirmations alone rarely work, because you can say, I am abundant 1,000 times, but if you're saying it from a place of trying to fix your lack, you're still broadcasting lack. The quantum field doesn't hear your words, it reads your energy. It feels your state. When you can embody abundance while still in the waiting season, not because you're forcing it, but because you truly understand that the waiting is part of the abundance, that's when everything shifts. You're no longer trying to get somewhere. You've arrived energetically. And once you arrive energetically, physical arrival is just a matter of time collapsing. Pause for a moment and share in the comments what energy you're choosing to embody right now, even while you're still in your waiting season. What state of being are you claiming before the evidence arrives? Here's another layer that most teachings ignore. Your waiting season is also clearing your energy field of attachments that would limit your breakthrough. Think about it. Every time you wanted something desperately and didn't get it, you formed an energy attachment to that specific outcome. That attachment becomes a filter through which you view all future possibilities. It narrows your field of reception. The universe might be trying to deliver something 10 times better, but you can't see it because you're still attached to the original thing you wanted. The waiting season forces those attachments to surface so they can dissolve. Every moment of disappointment, every closed door, every no, is actually loosening your grip on how you think things should look. And that loosening is what creates the space for something beyond your current imagination to enter. This is where surrender becomes the most powerful creative force available to you. Not surrender as giving up, but surrender as letting go of your limited vision so the universe can deliver its unlimited one. When you can hold your desire lightly enough that you're not attached to exactly how it shows up, you open yourself to receiving in ways you never could have orchestrated with your conscious mind. The waiting season teaches you this surrender not through philosophy, but through direct experience. It keeps not giving you what you want, in the exact form you wanted, until you finally release your grip on the form and start trusting the essence. And the moment you trust the essence, the form appears in ways that exceed what you originally wanted. There's also a biological component happening that nobody talks about. Your nervous system has a specific capacity for joy, for success, for receiving. That capacity is called your window of tolerance. If your breakthrough arrived before your nervous system expanded its window of tolerance, you would literally sabotage it. Your system would see that much positive change as unsafe and would create problems to bring you back to familiar levels of stress or struggle. This is why people who win the lottery often lose it all, not because they're irresponsible, but because their nervous system couldn't handle that much expansion. It registered as a threat, not a gift. Your waiting season is systematically expanding your window of tolerance. Every day you stay aligned while nothing visible changes is a day you're teaching your nervous system that safety exists. You are reconditioning your automatic responses, getting you out of a state of constant struggle. You are demonstrating to your body that it's capable of experiencing positive emotions without needing external validation or permission. This reconditioning is crucial because when you finally achieve your breakthrough, your nervous system won't react with panic or create unnecessary drama. Instead, it will calmly acknowledge, yes, this feels safe and sustainable. This is the new normal for us. Without this essential preparation, even the most significant breakthrough can become unsustainable in the long run. This is also the reason why individuals who bypass the necessary waiting period through shortcuts or by forcing manifestations often find that their success feels empty or quickly fades away. They achieve the external results they desire, but they fail to undergo the internal transformation required to truly sustain them. They receive the prize without developing into the person who is capable of holding on to it. And the universe operates with precision. It will invariably remove anything that you aren't energetically prepared to maintain, not as a form of punishment, but as a means of protection. Because holding on to something you're not ready for creates far more suffering than not having it in the first place. So, when you find yourself in a waiting season, feeling as though nothing is happening, it's important to recognize that everything is in fact happening. Your consciousness is expanding, your frequency is stabilizing, your nervous system is recalibrating, your energetic field is clearing, and your quantum possibilities are reorganizing themselves. Your future self is reaching back through time to offer guidance, your ancestors are celebrating the healing you're undergoing, and your DNA is literally restructuring itself based on your new beliefs and emotions. While these changes may not be immediately visible, they are all absolutely essential for your growth and transformation. Here's what's happening on the energetic level, something that science is only beginning to grasp. Your heart generates an electromagnetic field that extends several feet beyond your physical body. This field carries information about your emotional state, your beliefs, and your overall frequency. When you're in your waiting season and you're maintaining alignment, your heart field is broadcasting a specific signature into the quantum field. That signature acts like a homing beacon, attracting circumstances, people, and opportunities that are aligned with its frequency. But here's a crucial point to understand. Your heart field is constantly being read by other heart fields around you. When you maintain a steady frequency during the waiting period, you're not just changing your own reality, you're also influencing the energetic field of everyone you encounter. This explains why some people seem to possess an innate sense of luck, why opportunities seem to gravitate towards them, and why doors seem to open effortlessly in their presence. It's not simply a matter of luck, it's a result of coherent heart field resonance. Their electromagnetic signature is so clear, so consistent, and so aligned that it literally reorganizes the field around them. And you cultivate this coherence not through achieving success, but through maintaining alignment during the waiting period. Every time you choose faith over fear, trust over control, and presence over anxiety, you are strengthening the coherence of your heart field. You're essentially becoming a walking probability shifter, influencing the very fabric of reality around you. There's also a concept in quantum physics known as entanglement. When two particles become entangled, they remain connected regardless of the distance separating them. If you alter the state of one particle, the other particle instantly changes as well. Your consciousness is entangled with your desired reality. The instant you shift your internal state, your external reality must eventually shift to match it. However, there's a time delay that occurs in the physical realm. This time delay is what we experience as the waiting season. It's not that nothing is happening during this time, it's that the quantum shift has already occurred and physical reality is simply catching up. When you understand this, the waiting period becomes exciting rather than frustrating. You're not waiting for something to happen. You're observing something that has already happened in the quantum field, slowly manifesting in the physical world. Think of it like ordering something online. The moment you click the purchase button, the transaction is complete in the digital realm. However, there's still a shipping period before the physical item arrives at your doorstep. During that shipping period, you don't panic and assume that the item might not be coming. You know it's on its way because the transaction has already been completed. Your waiting season is like that shipping period. The quantum transaction has already taken place the moment you aligned yourself with your desire. Now you're simply waiting for physical reality to deliver what is already rightfully yours in the field of infinite possibilities. This reframe changes everything. You stop anxiously wondering, when will it happen? And begin peacefully knowing that it's already done. You're simply waiting for the delivery. That shift from anxious anticipation to peaceful knowing is, in itself, the frequency adjustment that accelerates the delivery process. Because remember, the quantum field responds to your state of being. Anxious anticipation broadcasts, "I don't have it yet," which perpetuates more waiting. Peaceful knowing broadcasts, "It's already mine," which accelerates manifestation. The same desire but a different frequency results in a completely different timeline. Take a moment and comment below with this phrase, "My signal is clear. I am ready." Not as a mere hope, but as a declaration to the quantum field itself. Let it be your conscious interruption of the old loop, your energetic signature declaring, "This is the moment I choose to align." Here's what starts to happen as you approach the moment of your breakthrough. Time itself begins to feel different. You might notice an increase in synchronicities, numbers appearing repeatedly, songs playing with lyrics that speak directly to your situation, or conversations with strangers that contain exactly the message you needed to hear. These aren't mere coincidences. They are confirmations that your frequency is locking into the timeline where your breakthrough exists. The universe is essentially saying, yes, you're getting closer. Keep going. You're almost there. You might also notice that people from your past suddenly reappear, not randomly, but because your new frequency is activating old connections in new ways. Sometimes, the opportunity you've been waiting for comes through the most unexpected person. Someone you haven't spoken to in years reaches out right when you've fully released attachment to how your breakthrough should arrive. That's not luck. That's the field reorganizing itself to match your new vibration. Your release of control has allowed the universe to utilize pathways that you would have never consciously chosen. Another sign that your turn is coming is the appearance of what I call threshold tests. These are moments where the universe checks to see if you're truly ready. You might be offered something that looks like what you wanted, but doesn't feel quite right. You might experience a temptation to compromise your standards because you're tired of waiting. You might face a situation where choosing alignment means potentially waiting even longer. These aren't obstacles, they are final calibrations. The universe is making sure you won't settle for not close enough when the real thing is about to arrive. The people who pass these threshold tests are the ones who break through with something that's actually sustainable and fulfilling. The ones who fail these tests get what they thought they wanted and then realize it wasn't what they actually needed. If this exploration is touching something deep within you, if you feel the truth of these words resonating in your body, then I invite you to subscribe, not just to this channel, but to this frequency. This isn't about mere content consumption. It's about joining a space where consciousness expansion is the foundation. Subscribe to stay coherent, to stay elevated, and to stay connected to this movement of beings who understand that reality responds to frequency. You might also experience what feels like a dark night of the soul right before your breakthrough. Everything you thought was solid starts feeling uncertain. Old wounds resurface. You question everything you've been building toward. This isn't a sign that you're going backward. This is the final purge. Your system is releasing every last bit of old programming that would interfere with your new reality. It feels like you're falling apart because, in a way, you are. The old version of you is dissolving completely so that the new version has room to fully emerge. Most people interpret this as failure and quit right here. But if you can recognize it for what it is, a chrysalis moment, a death before rebirth, you'll move through it and emerge transformed. And then, often when you least expect it, when you've finally stopped watching the door, it opens. Your breakthrough arrives not with fanfare, but with a quiet knowing. It might look smaller than you imagined or different than you planned, but it feels right in a way that nothing else ever has. And you realize in that moment that every delay, every detour, every disappointment was guiding you here to this specific opportunity that fits you so perfectly, it feels like it was designed with you in mind, because it was. It was waiting in quantum superposition for you to become the version of yourself that could receive it without resistance. Your winning moment doesn't announce itself with trumpets. It arrives in the stillness you've been cultivating. It meets you in the frequency you've been holding. It recognizes you because you've become it. And suddenly the waiting season makes complete sense. You're not grateful it's over. You're grateful it happened because you realize that the version of you that entered the waiting season couldn't have held what this version of you is about to receive. The waiting wasn't a delay. It was a delivery system for your transformation. If this transmission landed deeply for you, consider watching this again tomorrow morning to anchor these frequencies before your day begins. And if someone in your life is moving through their own waiting season, share this with them. That act of sharing doesn't just help them. It creates an energetic ripple that reinforces these truths in your own field, accelerates your own manifestation, and strengthens the collective frequency we're all building together. Your sharing becomes part of your own quantum broadcast. There's also a spiritual dimension to this that transcends the quantum mechanics, though they're intimately connected. Your soul has a blueprint, a map of experiences, lessons, and transformations it came here to complete. Your waiting season is often a soul-level recalibration where your human desires align with your soul's blueprint. Sometimes what you think you want isn't what your soul came here to experience. The waiting season creates the space for that misalignment to reveal itself and for your desires to evolve to match your soul's true calling. When that alignment occurs, when human will and soul purpose become one, that's when the floodgates open, because now the full force of your soul's intention is behind your desires, and nothing can stop that kind of aligned momentum. This is why some breakthroughs feel so right, so destined, so inevitable when they finally arrive. It's because they weren't just about getting what you wanted. They were about becoming who you truly are. The waiting season stripped away the false desires, the ego attachments, and the conditioned wants that weren't truly yours. What remains is pure soul desire, and soul desire always manifests because it's in alignment with the universe's intelligence. Your soul and the universe are not separate, they're made of the same consciousness. When your soul desires something, the universe is essentially desiring it through you, and the universe always fulfills its own desires. As we close, I want you to do one more thing. Drop one word in the comments that captures the energy you're choosing to embody moving forward. Just one word that represents your frequency, your intention, and your commitment to alignment. Let it be your energetic signature to the quantum field. And hit that subscribe button, not just to stay connected, but to stay coherent with this truth. Because the more of us who embody this understanding, the more the collective field shifts to reflect it. Your breakthrough isn't isolated, it's part of a larger awakening. And your turn to win isn't coming, it's already here. Your signal has cleared, the frequency has locked in, the quantum field has received your transmission, the universe has heard your soul's call, Your ancestors are celebrating, your future self is reaching back, and physical reality is reorganizing to match who you've become. Now all that remains is the unfolding. Trust it, embody it, become it, because alignment doesn't rush, and it never ever arrives late. Your turn isn't coming, it's here right now, in this moment, in this breath. You just won. Welcome home. Now, if you're recognizing these patterns in your life and you want to understand how the universe actually communicates these shifts to you through synchronicities, signs and quantum signals, you need to explore how divine timing speaks through the language of meaningful coincidence. The video, How the Universe Talks to You, Neville's Synchronicity, reveals the precise mechanics of how consciousness orchestrates these messages and teaches you to decode the universe's communication system so you never miss another signal meant specifically for your breakthrough.